YouTube crew, it is Multiplier here to review a long-term review. I've had this maybe 6 years or so now. The Native Instruments Traktor Kontrol S4 DJ MIDI controller. Looks like this. It's called Traktor Kontrol because it controls the DJ software Traktor, also made by Native Instruments, and it's called S4 super duper, and 4 channels of audio that you can do your audio DJing with. Now you may be wondering, Multiplier, you bought this 6 years ago. Haven't Native Instruments brought out some sort of mega new up-to-date version? And well, yes, you're correct. They updated this to a Mark II maybe 2 or 3 years ago, but they didn't really do much with the update. It was really just new colors on some of the buttons and stuff, maybe a few minor features, so it's basically the same, and that's because it is just that good. It's an absolutely perfect MIDI controller. Well, pretty much perfect, so perfect in fact that when they did want to bring out a brand new version of this, they had to basically invent a whole new way of DJing using stems and stuff. So there's a Control S5 and also an S8 now, but they're different controllers, they do different things, and therefore in my eyes they're not replacements for this, they're just different. In fact, that's also what Native Instruments think, because they still sell this. The Traktor Kontrol S4, they still sell it because it is super rad. But before I get into why it is so super rad, let me give you a bit of a history of Multiplier and how much I've used this so you can gauge my thoughts, feelings, and emotions in some form of logical context. So currently DJing isn't my main focus. I still do it every now and then, but a few years ago I did it an awful lot, and it was basically the main thing I did as Multiplier, as well as of course releasing music and stuff. Here's a picture of me DJing. Whoa, look at that. Look at you go, Multiplier. Energy, excitement, and fun. What are you doing there? You got your gum fingers and your fist pumps muddled up. Lunatic. Fun aside, I have used this an awful lot. It's my main DJ controller. It always has been, apart from the very first few months where I was doing the DJing thing. But it's been my main guy. I've traveled around with it, and it is super rad. In fact, what I do to travel, just in case you're wondering, stick a deck saver on top of a bit of well overpriced plastic, some words right, so a bit of well overpriced plastic, stick it over the top, and then you can literally slip that in a big backpack with your laptop, and bingo banga bongo, you can travel around with your DJ controller, also your sound card included inside too, and you don't need any additional protection. This protects all the buttons and all the back and stuff. It's just a bunch of sort of well-made sturdy plasticky metally stuff, which is fine. So you can literally stick this as it is, of course take your wires out first, stick this as it is in your backpack, and that is all you need for protection. No need for one of those big expensive heavy flight cases. I mean, yes, they do a good job. If you need one, I want to maybe throw it out of a plane, those flight cases will be good. Flight case looking like this, if you haven't seen one before. They are really good, but they are very heavy, expensive, and just a bit more brr, whereas this is less brr. And believe me, this is all the protection you need. Just stick it over the top, slip it in a backpack, bingo banga bongo, away you go to your DJ. Fun times. So what does this thing do? It's a MIDI controller. So it's a MIDI controller that controls the computer and sound and noise and software in a computer. So you plug it in using a USB cable. This basically controls all the sound in your computer, and in addition it can also serve as your sound card. And that's one of the reasons why I absolutely love this thing, because you don't need to bring an additional sound card or use the substandard one, which you can't even do queuing with, inside of your computer. So you basically use the sound card built into here, and that goes directly into your mixer or whatever else you're doing for your audio routing at your live event. In other words, the sound is in the computer. The Control S4 then sends information to that computer to manipulate it via the USB cable. The computer then takes that manipulated audio, maybe you've done some filtering or something, it sends that audio back through the USB cable as digital information, and then the sound card inside the S4 converts this into analog information, which then gets sent out via the built-in sound card. You see you've got these cables coming out the back for the main outs, which you can plug into a mixer, which then goes into the whole PA system. That's a really cool feature here, in fact an incredibly useful feature. And I am pointing at it. Maybe you can see if I play a track. Can you see? Can you see? Oh, see those meters flashing? Meters flashing. Oh, press the button, don't do that. Meters flashing are very important because that means there is sound. Press another button. That means your control S4, assuming you have the gain set to an appropriate level, your control S4 is sending out sound out through the cables. Now that may not sound very important to you, but if you've ever had sound just cut out, you're playing a set and just something goes wrong, sound cuts out. Oh no, disaster. Troubleshooting quickly can be the difference between disaster and some sort of mad comeback revival experience. So you need to be able to troubleshoot precisely what's gone wrong and why the sound's cut out. And if you have the meters flashing here, immediately that means, yes, it's not me. Blame the sound tech or some lunatic groupie bumping into a cable or something. Very, very useful. That brings me on to another key feature that I love about this. Visual feedback. Lights, fun, excitement. See the meters flashing. May sound simple, but on the cheap controllers, it doesn't do that. Then again, to be fair, all the other expensive ones do. So that's just a good feature that you expect from a well-priced, expensive, but very good, proficient, sufficient, good, proficient maybe, controller. So that's good. It's got all the visual feedback you need, or certainly good enough at this price point. Yeah, really expensive ones have a little bit more. More useful comments starting now. Build quality. Build quality is amazeballs. So much so that I haven't actually broken a single thing on here, apart from something that I broke that was entirely my fault. So all the bits that are working, which is everything apart from one bit, is good. Do a better sentence. The only thing broken on this Control S4 keyboard is a bit there, the headphone queuing in bit, which was entirely my fault. If I just grab some headphones. This bit here, the headphone bit, this had a little gold screw bit on to make it bigger. Now this was in the headphone queuing bit, because I was just having a bit of a jam session at home a few years ago. This was in here, and then what happened is it was pulled out a little bit. Always put it all the way in. It was sort of kind of in there, but kind of halfway in there, we'll say. And then I was practicing my DJing moves and experimenting, innovating in the space of DJing moves. And I was trying this spin kick, or not really a spin kick, maybe some sort of like spin move. It was a spin move. I was spinning around, spin. Imagine Skrillex meets some sort of martial art movie. The thing I failed to realise, and should have realised before I attempted the spin move, was that I was connected in a topologically problematic way to this Control DJ MIDI controller. So this basically had the effect, so imagine this is slightly bigger and halfway in. Imagine just pulling that sideways with the full force of a spin move. Snap, dead. So now buried in here is half of a adapter for a headphone. So that's not the controller fault, that was entirely my fault. Luckily though, I don't even need headphones when I DJ. I ride the waveforms because I've got good eyes and I know all the songs I'm playing. Not because I pre-planned sets, just because if I'm choosing a song, I know how it sounds, to quote Dead Mouse, Joel Zimmerman. So genuinely, I don't need headphones when I'm DJing, so not a problemo. Everything else though, as I say, is working perfectly, which is, to be honest, an absolute miracle. The amount of times a lunatic has drunkenly or otherwise stumbled into my controller, spilling a drink onto it, sort of smashing their hands into the knob bits, sort of bumping it, knocking it off the table, tables collapsing. The amount of just like chaos and carnage that surrounded this thing, it's insane. And it's still working, which is not even a single one of these has broken or even feels slightly broken, slightly wobbly. It's incredible. So yeah, the build quality, and I even tried taking it apart once, which was a bad idea because I tried to see if I could disassemble the bit I broke in there. So I literally, in fact, I maybe even did a video on it, can't remember, years ago, probably not. I unscrewed all the bits on the back, pried it apart, sort of jammed a screwdriver in there, horrible idea, and I just screwed it back together, and it still works years later. So build quality, unreal. Big ups to Native Instruments. Now, when I tapped it then, you can see it hears at certain points to be not very good quality, but that is entirely not true. It feels genuinely incredible build quality. They've got that sort of perfect, unapologetic plastic feel, which said that wrong. To quote Apple, unapologetically plastic. So while yes, some of the bits are plastic, some are metal, some are some form of other material, it's all extremely high quality. You can see how the finishes are different, and it's just got that super high quality feel to it. But it's just, yeah, I mean, literally, if you haven't played one of these, go into a shop that sells one, or go around a friend's house with one and just play with it, feel it up. Sort of grab it, play with the bits on it, twiddle it, and believe me, it's what you'd expect from Native Instruments, to be honest. Extremely high quality hardware at very reasonable prices. These didn't come with it. These are from DJ Tech Tools. I like them. Helps keep me orientated. If I'm like, oh, what's going on? DJing, which is the channels? I can just glance my eye. Oh, it's these ones. So that's easy. Buttons. Does it have all the buttons you'd want? Yes. You can. I mean, you've got 4 channels here. You've got the cue points here. You can even trigger samples of these guys. Although I use a MIDI fighter for that. I'll show you that in another video, how I use that. But yes, they've got the queuing buttons. It's got bits for looping. You can do beat jumping. Do they call it? They call it beat jumping, where you can skip like 16 bars left, 16 bars right, and so on. That's incredibly useful, genuinely, if you want to move, say, a phrase forwards and backwards, especially when you're sort of DJing with your eyes. You can be like, boom, 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 jump through phrases, bam, easy peasy. And I can genuinely mix in any track in the world to any other track in about 4 seconds flat. So I can be like, what's going on? Oh, I need a new tune, got distracted. There was a lady in the corner. And then I can be like, wow, a new song coming in. Brum, 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 move to the point, boom, play, done. Mix, easy. It's incredible. It feels like home, this. Instinct, I didn't even have to think about it. I was just like, stop playing, boom, done. Without even worrying about it. Effects along the top, dry, wet. The various bits. It's basically got everything you need for normal DJing. And it's not too big to carry around. Yes, it's on the bigger side of things, and it's not light, but it's not extremely heavy. It's sort of light enough, I might say. The lighter it is, the less build quality you get. So there's always going to be a trade-off there. But this, I feel like, has absolutely nailed the perfect standard DJ MIDI controller. It's just incredible. And the built-in sound card as well gives ample volumeage. What's the technical term for that? Output gain, maybe? Should know this. Basically, different sound cards output different volumes, and naturally, the closer you get to 100%, the more they start to distort and stuff, which is sometimes bad, sometimes cool. But yes, different sound cards output different bumped into the camera. Different sound cards output different volumes. The cheapest ones are quite low in volume, whereas this one is right up there with the very loudest. And again, I would call it sufficient. As I say, I've used this a lot, and lots of the other, well, in fact, lots of the bigger pros do use this as well, and they just literally plug it in willy-nilly and does the job. So yeah, sound card, thumbs up for that. Lots of bits and bobs on the back to do various things. Got different outputs, different inputs, and a whole bunch of other technical things you can read about on the website. This is more of not a technical review, just a multiplier review about my experience with this majestic DJ controller. 10 out of 10. A big 10 out of 10 for this. It is great. It's all the little details I just love. They haven't put in too many controls. Some of these DJ controllers, they put in a bit too many parameters, loads of which you never use, and then you or maybe they tried to put so many buttons and controls on a smaller form factor controller, and he's sort of doing this, and it's like you have to get your magnifying glass. It's like some of them you need to get a magnifying glass out and some sort of like tweezers to sort of like control the minuscule controls, and then you're bumping into another one. Some of them are like that, and that's not good, because you need to be able to just vibe out on it. You need to be able to grab a filter, do some filtering, or grab that and do some low EQing. You need to be able to just grab stuff and do stuff without hitting all the other buttons. And that's what they've got perfect. It's not too big. If they put all of this on a slightly bigger controller, it would just be even bigger to carry around, and that might be a problem. So they've sort of just got everything perfect. It's I lost for words. Here's some words. Look at this, for example. You've got your cue mix. You can adjust and then just stick it away so you don't bash it. It's just, I mean, that is a nice detail, because you can adjust these things where you need them. Your cue volume, your mic volume, and then just stick it away when you don't need it. not a problem. This versus the S2. If I remember from my memory skills, I will confirm this was some form of text or visual. I think on the S2 you don't get this filter control. So it's very similar, but you just don't get the filter here, and also 2 channels instead of 4. I like the filter. It's important. Probably, in fact, it is more useful than these. Like, I'd rather just have filter and not have these. So if it was an option, filter or these, filter every time, every time. It's just a very satisfying controller, just a sort of noodle with. In conclusion, it's an incredibly well-built, incredibly well thought-out controller that I absolutely recommend with 10 out of 10 stars. Thumbs up, all of those. My name has been Multiplier, and I will catch you guys on the flippity flip. Flip, 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 flippity flip. Yeah.